Xochitacao, Tontla, Tlaqui, Lopua. With flowers you write, giver of life. With songs you give color. With songs you give shades and tints to those who must live on earth. Soon you will destroy the order of eagles and jaguars. Only in your book of pictures do we live here on earth. Even on a precious throne, in a box of jade, princes can be found hiding. Thus are we all mortal, human, all on earth go to death. No one of emerald, no one of gold will remain. We all go away equally. All must disappear to life-giver's home. Like a painting, we are erased. Like a flower, we are dried here on earth. Like garments feathered with Quetzal, Zecun, and bluebird, we go away to life-giver's home. Sadness walks and wavers with those who cry in vain. Meditate on this, princes, eagles, and jaguars. Although you may be jade, although you may be gold, you too will journey to the fleshless land. We all must disappear. No one will remain. Zantipo puli huishke, ayak mokahwajio. Hungry Coyote lived at a moment when the anonymous singer, Quicane, of his people's tradition, who received verses in a song quest, began to speak of personal feelings and ideas and emerged a remembered poet. His poems kept close to the rhythms and patterns of speech and were spoken, not sung, to the open hand beat of the huehuetl drum. Filled with symbol and myth, his poetry moved his people's culture so deeply that after his death, generations of poets to follow would stand by the huehuetl and cry, I am Nezahualcoyotl, I am Hungry Coyote, and speak his poems and keep them alive. But then barbarians from beyond the seas would butcher Nahua civilization and try to blot out every trace of his culture. And yet, forbidden their hieroglyphic writing, his people learned to write their language in alphabetic characters and collected his poems into books, and so Hungry Coyote survives. I take another bus through a plain a few miles beyond the ancient shoreline and am left off on a gravel road near a few campesino houses at the foot of the high conical hill of Texcotzingo, almost pyramidal, Hungry Coyote's retreat. I climb a steep winding path past natural grottos that cut deep into the earth. I stop a woman coming down, a cloth-covered basket on her arm, followed by a girl, her daughter. She tells me that the early Spaniards never knew about Texcotzingo. That is why it was never totally destroyed. She says today the local people come here often on pilgrimages. I continue on. I notice a beautiful black striped pebble beneath a small bush. I reach a hand in to pick it up, but as if in warning, a branch almost sticks me in the eye. I pull back and do not touch it. A black beetle walks by. I see animal droppings. A spring drips from green moss along channels chiseled into the mountain rock. The trail narrows and forks, then suddenly levels off. At a high altitude, a little below the peak, the path circles the hill. In each of the four directions are ruins of temples, statues, aqueducts. No one else is here. I climb into a large round stone bath fed by channels near a frog sculpted from the same living rock. The pool is now dry. but in this very spot, Hungry Coyote once meditated and composed. I look out over the valley of Anahuac. The huge sun is lowering. I must push on to the top. I entirely circle the peak, but I can find no trail. A sudden growl. A man steps out of a bush. He quiets his dogs and explains that he is keeper of the hill. He shows me the way to the summit. Here, according to ancient texts, were pools, fountains, and gardens, fed by aqueducts, and 2 streams, each spiraling down the mountain in opposite directions. At the very top was once a tower, but today there are only scattered stones and a cross. Nearby, cut into the rock, is an image I recognize as Tlaloc, master of rain. The silence is shattered by a hammering close by, but I see no one. Finally, far away in the valley, a campesino pounding a fence post into the ground, the sound of each stroke delayed beyond the image like distant lightning and thunder. Astride another boulder is the shattered statue of a huge jaguar. According to ancient texts, it once had wings, and in its open mouth was a portrait of Hungry Coyote. On the horizon, I watch clouds pass toward me over the mountain they call Tlalocan, Mount Tlaloc, in Mexico, the holiest peak of all. Above my head, a hawk rides air currents, hovering in perfect stillness, facing effortlessly into the wind. Sinitz Kaju, Shitlaiwa, Kimalina, black flowers striped in gold interlace the beautiful song. With it, you adorn the people. You, singer, with a spectrum of flowers, you dress the people. Perhaps like this, the dead live now, beyond in the place of mystery. Is there perhaps pleasure there? Or is it only here on earth? With flowers, knowledge is given. With flowers, one is shown. Regale yourself with flowers. Flowers, the color of shining macaw, brilliant like the sun. With flowers of the crow, let us regale ourselves on the earth. Only a brief instant will it be thus. For a very brief time you are lent your flowers. Already they are carried to their house, to the bodiless place, which is also your house. With this knowledge, our sadness and bitterness perish. Awen amo, sane compoliqui, intelel, ontlacolol, oaya, oaya.